Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a prophecy that's 2,000 years old, from the final book of the Bible. Why? Well, because a really compelling argument says it has an explosive connection to the headlines you're seeing right now.
Okay, let's just dive right in. The mystery starts in the book of Revelation. It asks, who or what is Babylon the Great? You've got this powerful, incredibly wealthy city that basically rules the world. And then, boom, it's suddenly and catastrophically wiped out.
So for centuries, people have been trying to figure out who this Babylon is. She's painted as this powerful harlot city, a symbol of global power, wealth, corruption, the whole shebang. And her prophesied destruction? It's a huge, pivotal event in the entire biblical end-time story.
So who are the usual suspects? Historically, people have pointed the finger at Rome, both the ancient empire and later, the papacy. Others think Babylon is more of a symbol, maybe for a future one-world economic or religious system. But the source material we're looking at today, it makes a completely different case.
Okay, so this is where it gets wild. This interpretation makes a really provocative argument that Babylon is actually a mystery name, a kind of code word, for an unfaithful or apostate Jerusalem at the very end of the age.
Now this slide gets right to the heart of the argument. See, the metaphor of a harlot isn't just some random insult they threw at an evil city. In the Old Testament, it means something very specific, almost legal. It's about spiritual adultery. It's a term used for a people who are in a formal covenant, kind of like a marriage, with God, and then they break that promise.
And the numbers here are, well, pretty staggering. According to a study our source material cites, this specific metaphor for breaking that covenant is used 91 times in the Old Testament. And get this, in 86 of those cases, that's an overwhelming majority, it's talking specifically about Israel, Judah, or Jerusalem, no one else. But it's not just that one metaphor. The source material points to all these other direct links in the text. For example, Revelation calls both Jerusalem and Babylon the great city. And who gets accused of killing the prophets? It's Jerusalem. The text even says the name Babylon is a mystery, which suggests it's a code name, just like Jerusalem is symbolically called Sodom and Egypt elsewhere. And maybe the biggest clue of all? The language used to describe Babylon's destruction? It's pretty much lifted word for word from Old Testament prophecies of judgment against Jerusalem.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit, because this isn't just some ancient theological debate. It is colliding with modern political talk right now in a way that is just impossible to ignore.
And here's the kicker, the link to today. Our source zeroes in on a recent statement from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He actually frames the current relationship with the United States in the context of an ancient war, and he explicitly calls America the new Rome. Now, this isn't just some off-the-cuff historical reference.
What the analysis suggests is that this reveals a really deep worldview where the West, this new Rome, isn't seen as a forever friend, but as a final obstacle, an adversary that ultimately has to be overcome on the road to redemption.
And this collision of worldviews couldn't be happening at a more critical time. It's happening right as the very foundations of the U.S.-Israel alliance are showing some major cracks, leading to what our source is calling the Great American Divorce. For what, 75 years, that support has been rock solid, built on two key pillars. But the argument here is that today, both of those pillars are starting to crumble. And that change, it's happening fastest with younger Americans.
I mean, think about it. The whole information landscape has been turned upside down. Social media completely shattered the old media gatekeepers. Controversial historical events that were once buried are now being discussed everywhere. And that automatic moral line that was drawn from the Holocaust to unconditional political support, that's fading as older generations pass. The bottom line is you've got this massive generational shift in how Israel is perceived.
And this is where it all comes together. This is the convergence point, where the theology from an ancient book slams right into the geopolitics of a modern fraying alliance.
So the argument goes like this. This divorce, this fracturing alliance, creates the exact scenario that Revelation describes. You have an unfaithful Jerusalem, allied with a global power structure that is eventually hated by that very same system, which then turns on her violently once the alliance just isn't useful anymore.
And this really lays out the ultimate contrast at the very heart of the book of Revelation. It really is a tale of two cities. You've got the earthly harlot, corrupt, worldly, violent, and then you have the heavenly bride,
pure, righteous, eternal. They are perfect mirror opposites in every single way.
So, when you put it all together, the sources we've looked at today leave us with a deeply provocative and honestly pretty unsettling question. As we watch this moral, political, and emotional divorce between America and Israel play out in real time, are we just watching geopolitics as usual? Or are we watching the stage being set for the chaos and devastation of an ancient prophecy coming to pass?